Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I get a lot of requests for people to can I use your designs? Can I sell your designs? Absolutely. We allow everyone to paint everything and go ahead and sell your paintings. Okay, so and there's a lot of videos with a lot of ideas. What I want to do is I'm going to do a real short one here, hopefully, if I don't talk too much, and show you. This is a video that is also in the channel. Okay, it's painting the cosmos. If you just type in the word cosmos into the search on our channel, you'll come up with the cosmos video. And it is a painted simply type of technique, a wet alla prima, all in one. I want to show you how to use this, come up with some other ideas, how to just kind of change it. You could use flower locations, you could add other things. But sometimes a painting like this or just a photo like this, and I have only the photo because I sold the original, but it will give you lots of ideas. Okay, so you can look at the videos that we produce here. Not only can you paint them, sell them for yourself, but because we allow that, but you can also use them to inspire you to do other things. Let's take a look. So what I have here is a board. This is just a regular board. It's 11 inches this way, 14 inches this way. I do it because I have a whole bunch of these frames, and they're really nice frames that I got here. They're all oak and stained, and I got each one of them there for less than $6, and I got a whole bunch of them. So for me, they make just great holiday gifts for a bunch of friends and stuff. But what I did was this gave it some white. Now let's go in and let's paint this using kind of this technique as an idea. I'm going to change it around, of course I always do, but let's just use it as kind of an idea. First, you look through movement and stuff into the background. I don't want to paint on white, so let's go down to our palette here, and the palette is the same. This is my YouTube favorite palette, and those of you that are looking to get into colors and stuff, Jessica on our studio has put this particular palette all together, and she has it on a special and stuff, so check that out if you have time. We'll put the link in the video description below. But it's Hansa yellow, Darulite yellow, yellow oxide, burnt sienna, naphtha red light, pine green, phthalo blue, red violet, quinacridone violet, white. This is the Deravan open medium that we've been using a lot, and this is my little cap of extender, and I'm going to start there. I'm going to use a larger brush, some white, and thin it out so we can get a nice coating here onto our surface here, and the coating will stay wet for a little bit if I add some of this extender in like this. So, and that's up to you whether it stays wet or not. Now, what colors do we want to do into this? I made a gray before. I love grays that come off of blue and burnt sienna, and it takes just the tiniest little bit of blue into the burnt sienna, and see how powerful that is. But that gives you just these beautiful grays, and having some of that model through some of your model. This is modeling where it's not real mixed up, where you see the colors come off. That just makes pretty backgrounds. And sometimes I'll push other colors in there, or you can let the edges go to white. I mean, try all different kinds of things. These are just so fun to do, they're just so fun to do. So I'll put that big brush down here for a minute, and we'll go down to one of my favorites, the 3/4 inch here. I could even use an inch brush here, but I'll just try the 3/4 inch. And what we're going to do is just come in here, and what I did on this one, and you look in the video, is just start out with moving some color in through the center. Now what this does is two things, and I'm going to add maybe a little bit of extender to this. We'll try moving some color. So right where we're going to want to have a center of interest or so, I just kind of push around, and then I'll soften the color coming out of that center of interest here. And sometimes when I do these things, I love just to kind of push around and try all different kinds of things. Put colors in a little heavy, and then right into the center here, and then get them a little lighter and less as they come out. I try all different kinds of things. I like that big green stroke there. Let's see if we can kind of leave that here. And I try all different kinds of looks that I can play around with flowers with. Now, if I have, in that one I don't have very much yellow, but I might have yellow into this painting too. So, Yellow would be another color that I might streak through. If you have blues or something like that and violets, you might streak some of those through into your background. But what you do is I use the brush flat and I use it in the corners. One of the things, I'm going to take a little violet with this so it gets a little different color. One of the things I love to do is just use the corner of the fusion brush like this and just kind of push around. Now, I know it looks like a mess. You can't, there's just no other way thing. But this kind of does a couple of things. It kind of loosens you up and gets you ready to paint, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. But more than anything else, it's color movement, and that's what we like. Now, you can use your paper towel to come through and blur. Don't do it too many times, the colors will blend. But blur the colors out just a bit and get a softness to it that you might want to have into the painting. Now for the other one that I did over there with the cosmos that I painted, I put in some blues and stuff and other colors. Let me rinse that out real quick. If you rinse your brush, I always tell everybody, if you're painting alla prima, pinch wipe to get that water out of the brush and put a little bit of extender into it. And there's a good reason for that. See, water is the solvent of the paint. Let me show you something. I'll just take water. If I use just water in my brush and I touch into here, see, I cut right through the paint instantly. That's because water is the solvent. So if you rinse your brush at any time, if you're painting alla prima with the Heritage Acrylics, pinch wipe your brush with a paper towel really well, okay? Then you can put it in a little bit of extender and then you're fine. And then go back, mix that up a bit here. So I may want to have, I like these little touches of blues or violets, blue violets. A little violet into this is pretty. And you can have little touches of that into your painting here, you know, pull through. And you just put down and try some of these colors, and they're just so much fun. Okay, now what this does is it gives you a good indication of, you know, what you might, or the background of what you might want to do. What I did with that particular painting is I just took my paper towel with just that tiny bit of water in it from cleaning it out, and I backed the colors out just in a few areas so I don't have any real thick color of where I might want to do some flowers. So we'll just back out just a bit. And I don't need to, I'm going to do some other ones out over here. But, you know, sometimes if you get color really thick into an area, you just back it out a bit. And that will give you a nice look. I'm going to put a little more contrast right underneath there. A little more color. I love the colors to come out and, you know, to get what we call the sparks of the colors coming out like that. See, because that just, now most of that covers up, but that just gives you some nice looks, I think, you know, into the painting. And most people will be attracted to a painting by color first. I mean, we all look for subjects, but colors, they go to colors that they like. And Frank Cavino, like I've told you in other videos, Frank Cavino said that a lot, and I've painted that way my whole life, and I find that very, very true. Okay, so I'm going to go to, you can go to a 6 or an 8. Let's paint a daisy-like flower here. I'll take some white, some of these colors that I'm using here, and it'll just make a gray. Some of my blues, greens, yellows, all of it together to make a softer gray. Let's put one right up here, right out like that. Okay, so that one will go there. Let's put that larger one here into the center here, and we'll pull that around here like this, and around, so that one will come in like that, right into that area. I like this one over here onto the side here, so let's just kind of give an indication of where that is. Now, all this other open space down in through here, I have the blues and the violets. Let's just go make a, and this is what I do. If I look at my colors here, I got to travel that down here because I didn't take any. So I can do that with flowers as well. And I look, and so let's just take a little bit of violet right down through here, right into this color, which will tone all out and stuff. Let's just take some of these nice, beautiful violets. Let's lighten it up. So a little bit of phthalo, a little bit of the quinacridone violet here. That's kind of pretty. I like See, that picks up that color. So we'll put some of that around with this color. Maybe one or two little violets, flowers up over here. And, you know, we can have some smaller little touches of those violets and stuff out over here that will be like other flowers and everything. And sometimes I'll just smear them around. Yeah, it's with my paper towel or my finger and move those around just to soften it out. This is the Impressionist that I love to paint. And I was such a realist, and, you know, for years, and, you know, for 25 years I was a decorative painter, and then I went into realism, and, you know, some of you have seen some of the other videos there with some of the Dutch masters that I painted, and I went into realism. And I really found what I love now as I paint Impressionism. Impressionism is I just lose the edges, loosen up, and you know, have a bit more fun with color and the calligraphy. Let's take this. Let's add a little more quinacridone, which will this violet, which will just kind of give a little different color tone through. So I like the color. See, I paint for color. I like these colors moving through. Let's add some of that color into what will be these daisies here. And that'll be pretty. So you got this nice warm, and you see, even like right now, you know, those of you that really, and I have some students that really love Impressionism, that's very impressionistic, and it'll be very fun to just develop it a little bit. You know, every one of us is different as an artist, and we'll develop things different. But as I paint this with this 6 or an 8 fusion, whatever you decide, use different edges of your brush. Use the corner and kind of do what I call kind of stick it, just stab at it like this, and move those colors around a bit. Use the flats to express color a little different here. Pull out some and soften those out, you know, and that just looks great that way with colors coming out. Okay, and you can try this with any of the colors that you love, okay? Any colors that you love. Now, let's go in and let's work. Let's drop in some of the yellow into that daisy. Yellow and burnt sienna. I love those into a nice warm color that'll go right into the centers of those main daisies here. Okay, we're going to have some of those almost like an African daisy or something here. We'll have the violets, the purple colors coming out here as well, because those are pretty that way. You know, there's and reason why daisy is one of the first flowers I learned how to paint. I want to say how long ago that was, but over 40, almost 45 years ago. It was the first flower I learned how to paint in decorative painting, really stiff and stuff, but yeah, it's a fun flower to paint. Now, so I have that kind of cool colors in there, and I want to get some of that contrast in, a little bit more green and red violet in there. See that nice deep dark kind of contrast color here, right in that area, and I might push it in and out of the daisy here a little bit. This help when you do this, like this, guys. What this does is it gives you the opportunity. Not only does it blur the edge, but it gives you the opportunity to make a translucent petal. Those of you that have watched some of the videos on the channel to making translucent petals and stuff, it gives you the opportunity to do that. Now, up here, I'm going to bring my light in this way, so these will be warmer colors. So let's drop right down here, add some yellow to warm up that gray, and then we'll go with a little bit lighter color here, maybe just a bit of the violet so it doesn't get too yellowish on us. So yellow and violet are complements. So if it's too yellow for you, just add some of your violet, which is a good one to do because it is so much, it not only is it complement, but it's so much into the painting. Let's slowly lighten this up. Not pure white. We'll be looking for a 7 or an 8 in a value there. So I'm about a value 8 here. And let's just come in and start to set like that daisy petal. Now what I'm going to do is pick up paint. I'm going to set the brush down. This is slightly on the chisel, and I'm going to pull in and lift off and not reload the brush and then do it again. Now up in the main petals up here, what I want, if I pick up too much dark, I just wipe my brush real quick. I'm going to pick up some more paint here. Use kind of on the chisel and pull in a bit here. Now as I come around, I won't reload my brush so that my daisy starts to get darker and pick up other colors. But if I do have to reload my brush, like I just ran out of paint, I might come up here to it's a little darker, a little bit less a light color in it here. And let's just touch in some little bits here. And you can pull out to make that look a little softer, or you can push that shadow in and out like that to change some of those colors a bit. We have that violet underneath there, so this is what I call the push and pull of the petal. You can take the colors out a little bit, a little further. Let's add some open medium now to our painting as we paint this. This will slow down what we do. It's also thicker, and it's also not only thicker, but it is also will slow the drying time, and it grabs just a little bit. It's a little sticky, which I like. We'll come back here with these softer little petals here, kind of set this one in here. Right in like that. Now that's going to be maybe a bit too dark, so let's just add a touch more light, little open medium, and work over those again here. So a little softer. But it's sitting in the back. Notice how I don't reload for each petal like I do right up in there in my main center of interest flower. Okay, I don't reload it quite, as much. Let's take a little bit of our grays here, some more whites, just a little different color here. So it's a little different. And let's push this idea of this daisy. Don't reload, just kind of stroke it back and forth a little bit so that daisy doesn't have as much power as that one. Let's go back and work that light on that main daisy again. I'll come up here towards a little warmer, a little bit more of my yellow. It's a little warmer, a little lighter. Pick up just a bit of that color, touch and lift off. Don't pull all the way into the center. We want to leave some of that light out by the tip here. We don't want to drag it all the way into the center. But a little bit of calligraphy here, a little bit of dragging is kind of nice. You can darken it down a bit and just add. Now that got too light, so I'll just pull back and forth a bit here. Let's tap into just a touch darker here. There we go. Let's pick up a bit warmer. Maybe go this way here. When I paint daisies, I like to stroke them 2-3 times, pushing in and out, get some nice color, movements into them. That's what makes them really, really pretty. And every once in a while, get yourself a fresh paper towel. Let's push some of these violets. Now, when I go into the back, sometimes I use extender rather than open medium, so the color is thinner, so it doesn't have as much power. And so I can it's almost like a little glaze, just putting it on back there. And so it's softer and doesn't have as much power. Now, let's not go up here to this warm. Let's come right back about in here. That'll keep this daisy back behind the others. Right up here into the front. Keeps it back behind. And we'll do the same over here with this one. Maybe just a touch more light here. And, daisies, I used to always, when I was a younger artist, and I used to always watch the artist, and some of you should just look her up, was back in the 80s and the 90s, Helen Van Wyck. I always loved her TV show on PBS. And she always says, get playful with your painting. Have some fun with it and get playful. And, I do that now as well. Get playful, drag the color. See, I just dragged the color like here. I spun my brush, drag the color. It makes it look like little petals out there. So you don't have to have perfect strokes. You can just drag and push and pull your colors here to give some different looks, especially into those highlights. So as I come in here with some of my lights, little different than what I did over there with the Cosmos. I may drag a bit here like this to give a different calligraphy to some of those lights and give a different look. Now you can make more precise petals by pulling a light right onto the edge if you want, but the dragging look here too is kind of fun. That coming in and out there like that, just picking up, and it keeps it a little different. Let's drag this one. And sometimes if I feel like I'm going too much, I'll change how I hold my brush so that I drag and stuff a little different. So it gives a little different look to that daisy there, which is kind of fun. Let's not quite as light, maybe a little warm, a little yellow, but not quite as light. Let's add it needs to be just a touch lighter than that. Let's add one or two little bits out here. Get a little playful with it here, like that. See, it kind of looks like petals, kind of. Just kind of pull those in like that. Push that in and out. Here, a little too far there, so we'll cut off the daisy petal. There we go. And it's a little different, see? Now let's go back in and reestablish that center warm. Right back in there with some burnt sienna here. And sometimes I'll, especially like in that center one where I want a lot of interest, we might just cool that, put a little bit of the violet in my brush at the same time here, and push in and out a bit. Use different corners, but you just push like this, see? So you get this uneven, unstroked, a lot of life to that flower. And, you know, maybe, and this is where you start to play and get different things. Think about different things you can do. You could put violets in there. Adding interest. What adds interest? Colors. Colors. So start thinking, you know, I had some yellow oxide back up over here. Maybe I'm going to take a stroke or two of some of that nice warm yellow in and out here. Just a bit of that. See how pretty that adds. Don't add it everywhere, because then it loses its impact, its power. But adding some of that into just a few petals around there, just a lot. And the Darulite is beautiful too. Let's go over to the other side over here and add some of that Darulite, which is a little more powerful there, and a little bit different yellow there. It's really kind of pretty. And a little bit right in there, just maybe a mark or two. And leave, I call them splashes of color. Leave little splashes of color because it adds a lot to the painting. Maybe and sink it. Sometimes I do what I call sink the color. You sink the yellow into the daisy petal with this a real quick jab of the corner of the brush and a light color. And that puts that color right into the petal. So you just quickly jab it like this, right, with like the corner of the brush, and it pushes it into the corner of the petal. So now you got some soft, and you could do more of what we call petal edging techniques. I've showed you that before, where I take the corner of the brush like this with the color, and I could come out here and, you know, edge a petal to give a little more contrast to one or two little petals out here like this if you want to. That's just all part of your calligraphy, your look that you may want to do. I'm going to do just a couple petals. So let's just push that. Maybe edge this one right here coming down so it gets maybe a little bit more paint here. And so I start with a little bit of paint and then see if I need a bit more. See, I put that little edge. It's like using a little bit of detail there. Just a touch of detail. Let's drop this one in here. Here we go. That's whether or not that might be too much. Just push it back out a bit to soften it. They're kind of fun. But it also does what you got to be careful for. Some of you will like it, some of you won't. But what it does is it also stiffens up the petals just a bit. So, and do you do it or not? Well, that's up to you. Okay, we're all different. We're all different with our likes and dislikes and stuff. So I'm going to put just a bit of that right out onto this one, right out here, which we'll let it soften in the back, let it come out there. I like that little bit of coming out here. Boom. Right like that. So that makes it kind of pretty flowers, and especially those yellows and stuff. You know, I'll change the colors and stuff on this frame, but you know, with those yellows and stuff like that, it's going to make a nice painting, even if I left the color of the frame just like that. Let's drop in a little red violet and some quinacridone. Excuse me, red violet and some burnt sienna here. Right down as a nice shadow. Right down here is a nice contrasting shadow. Here to that center. We'll drop a bit down here. Right down like that. Right there by the base or the bottom of that, where you want that center. Now, I'm going to take, just with the corner of the brush, I'm going to take some of my yellows, model them together. Hansa yellow. You could use Darulite, you could use yellow oxide here. So I have yellow oxide and Hansa yellow, a little Darulite. I'm going to start up here by the top here, and I'm just going to stipple a little bit right up here to the top. Let the color run out as I go down. It's running out of my brush, so it's getting softer. And just kind of stipple around. That puts in a nice little center. Let's repeat that, and I'm going to use more yellow oxide this time, not as much Hansa back here. Let's just push a little bit there, here, right back there. Yellow oxide, little bit of Hansa, just a little, because these flowers are on the side. We want most of our interest, start up at the top, that's where your light source is. Most of our interest is coming in that center one. Now that center one, let's take some white, some Hansa down here, a little bit of white. This is modeling them together, not mixing them, just kind of tap them together a little bit. Now you have an ultimate highlight here. Don't get too much of this, you'll lose all the color difference. Just a little bit of it right around, and don't go too far down. And I like to kind of tap in it a bit. You can add, let's wipe the brush. Let's just take a little bit, a little less white, a little more Hansa here. And just add one or two little bits up here to the top side back there on that one. Okay. And then maybe one or two little bits here. But you definitely see more interest into that center one. Okay. Now, I've let that just be really casual, which is what I like to do now. Really casual right there, you know, into those petals. Now, and I like that. Now let's go into, you know, you can make these like, you know, hydrangeas, lilacs, little Johnny jump up, something, you know, whatever you want. I'm just going to vary some of these colors a bit here. I'm going to use some open medium, some quinacridone, a little bit of blue here. Try not to mix this up too well now when I get this. And let's look for the contrast. So see this color, see how it's even making that white jump out. And let's add some more open medium. This will make it really transparent, but still give me the feeling like I'm painting with a lot of paint. We'll add some of that right down here and just kind of trail this off down here, little color marks of it. Let's add, now see, this will really pop the front of this forward if I add a lot right in there. And then we just kind of trail this off right up here. Maybe blur it off. So I run my finger through it and I think blur. I don't think blend, I think blur. Okay? And so it is, you know, and that's what the thing is. It's like so many artists think either blending or nothing else. Now there's quite a bit of difference, guys. You know, when you're an edge painter, destroying the edge, softening the edge. And I think blur, just a little bit of a blur, not a blend. Blend is when you're taking it and you're making, you know, another color basically out of it. And I don't want to do that. I want to blur the color tones together. Now, so you can see that gives a lot, especially that darker violet. Let's get just a touch more of that. a little bit more on the blue side, right up in there. See, that really makes that little daisy look lighter. Now, we can come in here. We're going to paint pretty flowers, so we don't want to mix it too well. We'll model this a little lighter with some lights here. And we'll do like little flowers here, or ideas of little flowers. I usually paint about half of them, something like that. And so I mix up, like here will be a light color. I'm going to come up here. So I'll like give the idea of it here. It's not perfect. We'll give the idea, let the color kind of run out as you go out here. Okay, we'll let this, we'll do a few, overlap them, just do impressions. We're impressionists. We're doing impressions of the painting here. So, you know, you don't need a whole bunch in here. Once you have a few of them starting to set up, you know, like this is going to be the shape of them. You don't need a whole lot of shape. You can just give the impressions because the viewer will look through color. Now let's lighten that up, maybe edge a little more white into one edge. This becomes my drawing petal where I can kind of shape up the flower a little bit better, like how I want to shape it up. I can still push in and out a bit, and but by having that little edge of light, I can shape petals better here. So we'll have a few just coming out there like that. Let's go just a touch lighter, maybe right in here. See, I love to get the differences as I stroke like this. I get some differences into those colors. And, you know, the thing is, you know, when you're doing something like this and this casual, and you have to, this is something you're going to have to fight and get over. To you as the artist, it will look wrong. Okay, if it doesn't, you're lucky. But to you as the artist, it will look wrong because you were thinking, especially if you come from me where you come from realism and stuff, it's hard to let go and get that casual. Okay, but you know, so it'll look wrong and you'll want to play with it and you'll lose the beauty of the painting if you do that. You just want to, more than anything else, just kind of like do imaginary flowers and stuff coming out here and fading away. That's when they're pretty. We can go all the way up to almost white on some of them because of those daisies. So on some of them, some of those petals, we can get a little lighter here as we just kind of, you can cut across to make it look like an edge of a petal, you know, and so just, you know, kind of, I always say, just kind of dribble them around down there, and don't fill up too much, but kind of dribble. Now I'm going to lighten up there at the top one here a bit more, because it's up by the light source, so we'll push that one in. But, you know, a few other little touches of those colors is pretty. You know, we can even take some of this and just now take this out here like this, run this out. Check your, you know, check it with your, if you have it with your frame. You don't want to go all the way to it. I like to leave a little bit of negative space into the, you know, into the painting there as I'm painting it to, you know, to leave some what I call breathing room, you know, into the painting. Now, let's just take some pine green, nice, beautiful, warmer green. We'll add some of that into a few areas here. You know, it could be a bit more yellow. I could have a touch more yellow in there. I love Darulite yellow with it. That's a real pretty yellow. You know, so is Hansa yellow. Yellow is a little brighter. Darulite makes more of a yellow-orange kind of color. And that's just real pretty to see some of that color within the painting here. And you can lift off, and we just want to make, I'm not going to make perfect leaves, I'm just going to make color. I'm just going to paint for color here. And boom, down it goes. Let's grab a little more yellow, maybe a touch of light here. And we'll go right on down. Hi, you girl. Yes, I see you. Yes. Yeah, my dogs are here. They're saying it's, Dad, it's time to go for a walk. This is what helps you paint really fast. The dogs are here. But we'll come back in here with the greens there, and that's kind of pretty. Just to put some softer greens, maybe a little bit of that green right up here to just break that color. Look for the color. See, whenever you get the differences and stuff in color, that's when it really gets pretty. I'm going to use a little yellow oxide. We'll go a little bit of light. Heading up here to the light, maybe your greens get a bit lighter, softer. Maybe just a pull or two of them here. Just see, I love that. And the white comes off of that and those little streaks like that. Because I didn't mix it real well, you get that, and it's very, what we call painterly, and that's an actual word. Painterly is leaving a lot of calligraphy, to your painting and stuff. So, and that's an actual word, and it's very, very true here. I just love that kind of stuff there. So I'm going to take just a bit of water, my solvent, in my paper towel, just the tiniest bit back here, and just blur down here on the bottom, just like that. So it pulls down. I like everything kind of, that's the impressionism of it that I like, to just do that. It's going from, the recognizable objects right into just colors and stuff there as it's going back. It would be nice to have just a touch of a little more of a idea of something right in there. A little different. See, I call it the sparks, and those of you who have painted with me for a while know I like that from Eugene Petit, the French painter, the 19th century French painter, impressionistic painter. When I studied him, I started looking at all these little, what we call color sparks, and I like how he did it. So, okay, so now we'll just take maybe a little corner of Hansa, and you could have whites or violets, model that up a bit, and maybe tap into the center of these. Put as large a center or small a center as you like. Just an idea maybe of some colors. See those colors in there? Maybe it's a little flower, maybe it isn't. And, I always do like to take one or two, even though this aren't a center of interest flower, and maybe add a little highlight or a little light source to it, because, that keeps it in condition or with the whole rest of the painting here. So let's add so your light's coming from the top there. Maybe just a touch more, a little light right here, right up there. And that makes a nice, soft, pretty little painting there. You could, pop the daisies out and stuff a little more if you wanted, but maybe, just try. Maybe one more, a little bit right up here, right up into the front here. Just a bit more color, a bit lighter. Just quick little strike of it. Yeah, that just gives just a touch more. But I love the casual nature of this one this time. Not quite, the petals and stuff are not quite as structured as they were on that particular Cosmos. And I'm going to leave some of this stuff really soft, especially, back here. Maybe just a little bit. But overall, just really a lot softer. And I like that particular painting. And we'll drop it. This is what it'll look like. It goes into the frame. And that'll make a nice Christmas or birthday present or whatever kind of gift that you want to give. Someone would love to get that painting. And it took you 39 minutes. Even with the talking and stuff, it took you 39 minutes. So that's not so bad. It is not an easy thing to do. I make it look easy because I paint a lot of these, especially this time during the holidays. I paint a lot of these because I give these away as gifts and stuff like that. And, and they are just so much fun to paint, especially towards the end of the day like today. It's towards the end of the day. The dogs want to go for their evening walk, and I just use up paint. And this is what I do. I usually paint up some of these, and they're a heck of a lot of fun to do. So I hope you enjoy that. In the next couple of days, like I said in the last video, we're going to be putting in even more videos. I have more landscapes and stuff like that. I just finished filming the Western over there this morning, so it's a bigger one, so it's going to take us a day or two here to edit it. Then we'll put that up onto the channel here as well. It's a fun one. So we have a lot more. And again, like everything, if there's something you want to see, just drop me a note. Drop it into the comments and stuff, and we'll do that. And those of you on the memberships, I'll put in, final big photos and stuff like this as well into the membership channel. And we'll be adding some more videos this week to that channel as well. Okay? So thank you very much for joining us. We all hope that you're enjoying your holiday season or whatever you're celebrating. And I'll see you all on the next one. And please don't forget to click like and share the video. That helps us a lot. And drop a comment. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see you on the next one. Maybe tomorrow or the next day. Depending on how long it takes to edit that Western. See you guys later.